Hey everyone, it's Jason, and welcome to an unboxing for Thundercats, a Zombicide expansion. So there are 3 packs, crazy 3 packs here. 2 of them have a bunch of survivors, and the third one has some abomination. So this is meant for the Black Plague series. The character cards all match the aesthetic of the Black Plague. And the backs of, like, the equipment cards and everything are the same, so they'll mix right in. Being said, there's nothing that says you can't figure out how to, like all Zombicide stuff, you can mix and match it and anything else. If you want to try and figure out how to add Thundercats into your regular modern sci-fi or Western Zombicides, go ahead. Mixing it into Marvel might be a little bit more difficult because they don't use equipment cards, but I'm sure you could figure it out if you really wanted to. So Thundercats, ho! Let's use the Eye of Omen to give us sight beyond sight into these boxes, and I'm not going to say it's ever going to be my last Thundercat reference. So we're going to go through all 3 boxes in here. So one thing to point out right off the bat is every character, well, not including Mammal because he's going to be the bad guy, but all the survivors, we have the main Thundercats team in the 2 boxes, as well as 2 of the, oh my god, are they called Mammalians? Now my brain forgot what they were called. I think that's what they are. Oh, of course it's not going to list it on here because that's what I'm looking for. But yeah, they're the different animal bad guys we get to play as well. And they each come, well, just about everybody comes with their own weapon, which is also a really neat thing. So either you could play an advanced game where they start with the weapon, or you could play, they just shuffle in and then they can get their weapons like normal. They're all cool, like, redesigned to be a little bit more stylized for this game. So, alright, we're going to hop into pack number 1, which of course is going to give us our main characters, or our main character. We're going to get Lionel, of course. We're going to get Chitara, and then we'll have Snarf. Then we'll also have Scythe. So let's read on the back here. I don't usually read the stuff where it says, the races of Third Earth were unprepared for Mumra's sudden assault, and even more unprepared for the turn it took. For Mumra had mastered not only technology, but necromancy as well. If there is any hope of survival, Lionel, Chitara, Snarf, and Scythe must battle against Mumra's zombie hordes for control of Thundera. Powerful artifact will aid their battles, such as the Sword of Omens, the Claw Shield, and Chitara's signature bow staff, and Scythe's custom battle axe. But in the end, there will be strength and the fearsome resolve that sees them to victory. So it requires Black Plague or Green Horde box to play. Now, what would have actually been really cool, like, I would almost prefer this as a full expansion pack. Like, not a brand new base game. Go ahead and make me include the other things. But it would have been cool if it would have been more of a big expansion with, I get there's, 10 survivors? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 survivors, plus 2 bad guys. Like, no more extra zombies. That's fine, whatever. Just have the same characters. Just all been cool to have a bigger expansion box with, tiles. I would have liked, like, 2 tiles would have been cool. Kind of like the Wolfsburg box. It had two brand new tiles. Just 2 things with Thundera. Like, one side could have been, like, their lying headquarters. One side could have been, like, Mumra's base. And then, like, the other sides could have been something else. Just because you could, like, yeah, that would have been cool. Anyhow, we didn't get that, so we're not going to ponder on it for too long. The other thing I did want to point out is when you buy these, you're going to get giant stacks of cards. And it's not like, oh my gosh, I have enough to, like, trade out to all my friends. It's because you get your 5 character card, or I get my 4 character cards in this set in English, And then I get a bunch in other different languages. There's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sets in here. And you're gonna get that for all of them. So they just packaged them all like that. So you can just ignore the other 6 sets of cards. And the same thing's going to be for all your other zombies, your other equipment cards as well. I guess if you know people in other countries that would like if they would at least like the miniatures or the cards, you could go ahead and ship them to them. But that's your call. All right, let's start with Lion. I don't know what these artworks though. There's some pretty badass artworks for these characters. So there's a redesigned Lion-O with the claw shield and the Sword of Omens. Definitely cool. And then we'll go over what his abilities are. So his slot may hold the Sword of Omens or the claw shield instead. So before I get too far into that, let's just look at this quick. Pack number 1. The Thundercats and the mutants made an uneasy truce to stop the mutants. I call them like they're mammals. You just pack, simply shuffle the equipment cards with the classic equipment. Any survivor may use the Thundercats weapons. So they're not forced to being used by this. They're all going to have the Thundercat symbol on them, like any other expansion has their symbols. What can Lion-O do? Of course, he's going to start with Boring Leader. He almost has to. Boring Leader is going to let you give a leader token to another survivor, which they have to use during their turn. But gives them 1 free action to do whatever they like with it. So that's definitely not a bad thing to have. And there's his miniature. Belt, the thing, even the Eye of Thundera you can see very well, although they didn't really get the little slit on the claw. That's still alright. I even like, so you flip over the claw to the other side, you can kind of set the little finger notches on there. Definitely a neat idea. Alright. Yellow is of course +1 action, that's typical. Then he has Destiny and roll 6 +1 die in combat. So anytime you roll 6, you can get an extra die to use, and as long as you keep rolling 6s, he gets extra die. So that's always fun. Destiny. Survivor can use a skill once per turn when revealing equipment they draw. They can ignore and discard that card to draw another equipment. So clearly supposed to be representing his, Eye of Thundera, that he can like see the future kind of thing, or look into things and get what he needs. Then he has in red 1 free combat action, Brothers in Arm +1 die for combat, or Shove. Free combat action explains itself. Shove lets you push zombies into another spot and gets them out of their way. Brothers in Arms is a fun ability. So it says +1 die for combat. So actually on the back of this card, it explains Brothers in Arms. Goes, the survivor can use a skill whenever standing in the same zone as at least one other survivor. As long as Brother in Arms is active, each survivor in the zone, including the one with this skill, benefits from the indicated skill or game effect. So if he's in the same zone as Chikara, they both have +1 die for combat. If he's by himself, he doesn't have it. So he gains bonuses for being with his team. But if you're going to run off by himself, you probably want to give him one of the other 2 actions. But also additional to that is if he's standing in the same zone as Chikara, Scythe, and Snarf, they all 4 of them get +1 die in combat. So Brothers in Arms is definitely a really cool ability. So normally what I do is in most Zombicide videos, I would then go to the next character, do that. What I'm going to do instead is look at their equipment as we go through, since they kind of tier to that character. So the Sword of Omens. Once per turn, you may look at their top card of any deck. Oh, that is neat. So you can look at the equipment deck, see if it's something you want to spend an action on. Or maybe like, I don't need that, I could wait. Or you could look at the zombie deck and see what's coming up on the horde. Oh crap, you guys, we have an extra activation coming, or we have a horde, or we have an abomination. And you could kind of know if you need to move people around. That's actually really cool. Plus, it doesn't use anything. I'm surprised it doesn't let you open doors, though. And then he also has the Claw Shield. So once per turn, pull one zombie at one range into your zone. That's cool. You can, like, force yank them towards them. So that's a really neat ability. Up next, we have Chitara. So they definitely, gave, instead of that, like, one-piece spandex, they gave her, like, a full, like, leathery outfit. But this might be designed based on, like, one of the updated cartoons or something. I'm not for sure. But I do like this aesthetic here. She's still kind of, like, showing off a lot of, like, skin, which is kind of what Chitara did. Even she's wearing spandex, like, out, like, onesie before. But I like the little things on her legs, where it's, like, the legs that go down in the front, but there's nothing in the back. That's kind of crazy. Plus, I have these, she's like these circle things around her arms and legs, which are, I don't know if there's a purpose for them. Like, maybe they're guards? I'm not sure. That is definitely interesting. But yeah, Chitara is definitely a cool character. And of course, being a cheetah, like Lionel, the lion is the king of the group, he's the leader. Chitara is the speedster of the group. So she can use her bow staff. So she has sprint to start with. Definitely going to represent her speed ability. Lets her move up to 2 extra zones. Plus one action. She has Blitz and Charge. Oh, she's going all out on this, isn't she? Blitz. Each time a survivor kills the last zombie in a zone, they get 1 free move. So if she kills something, she can move right to the next thing immediately. Or she can kill it and run away. And then Charge. The survivor can use this skill as free as often as they please. They can move up to 2 zones containing at least 1 zombie. Normal movement still applies, and entering a zone ends their action. So she can sprint to get extra spaces, or sprint away. She can then blitz in or blitz out after she kills something. Blitz to the next area, blitz out. Or she can just charge right in. Then she has in red, she has 2 zones per move action, Slippery and Zombie Link. So Slippery is going to let her move. It basically ignores the number of zombies when she wants to move. Normally you have to add 1 action for every zombie. She doesn't care. So that works really well with her other ones. She can get in and out. 2 zones per move action. So instead of having... She get even farther. Holy crap. She's going to be across the board in no time. I do want to double check sprint to make sure I didn't... sprint may... You just want to make sure you have to spend an action. Spend 1 move action, which the survivor may move 2 or 3 zones. So she's getting everywhere. And then finally she has Zombie Link, which is really fun. So anytime zombies draw an extra activation card, she gets to go first. And she gets to take 1 free action. So again, she can use all her different move abilities to get in there. She could go ahead and take something out first. Before they spawn, maybe get rid of whoever else is in the area, or before they get their activation, maybe kill them before they do something. Again, all these things are just representing her speed. That's really cool. I'm really excited to see all the rest of these characters now. Then we have Chitara's bow staff. Gain the jump skill. Oh yes, because she's always pole vaulting with that. She jabs into the ground and like swings herself over things. So that is really thematic. That's really cool. Not much else to say with that. So up next, we have the bad guy. We have Scythe. When I first saw these sets were announced, I assumed these guys were going to be, like zombies. Like one was going to be like, Jackal was going to be like a runner, and Scythe was going to be like a fatty or a brute. Or they're just going to be abominations. But it's kind of cool that you get to play as them. So he can hold his battle axe. He also has Boring Leader, which is kind of cool. He's the leader of the mutants, so it makes sense. +1 action. His orange is +1 die roll, combat, or bloodlust melee. Okay, cool. So he gets 1 extra die roll for whenever he does a combat action. Or his bloodlust melee, which will let him specifically spend an action. They move up to 2 zones and do a free attack. So Chitara had Charge, which would let her get in but it's all it'll do. This will let him move and then actually attack right away. And then in his red, he does have charge as well. He has Frenzy, Combat, and Barbarian. Barbarian is really fun. You can substitute the number of dice in a melee weapon with the number of zombies, but you still get plus dice value. So his weapon here, which we'll just look at that really quick, Sledge Battle Axe. Roll 6 does 2 damage. So he has 4 dice on there. So if he did Barbarian, he'd normally roll 4, which is quite a bit to begin with. But if there's like 10 zombies in there, he could roll 10 dice instead. So that's actually pretty cool. But then if he also had the +1 die roll for combat, he would get an 11th die. So that's definitely neat. And then Frenzy Combat. So Frenzy, I don't know if I've seen this very often. All weapons and combat spells the survivor carries gain +1 die per wound the survivor suffers. Dual weapons and spell each gain a die for total +2 dies. Okay, cool. So if he takes a hit, now he does an extra die. If he takes 2 hits, he'll have 2 extra die. So that's kind of neat. So if you're taking damage, you might want to choose Frenzy. If you're not, if there's a lot of guys, Barbarian. If there's only a few guys, Charge might be worth it so you can get in there. So you get some different options. That is really fun. Kind of the big bruiser guy, but he's all about like, I'm just gonna get in there and do what I need to do. It's what he's gonna do. It's the Born Leader thing I'm fine with. The only thing I'd say is I almost wish that if he had Born Leader and Jackal doesn't, that they would have swapped sets. So you had a Born Leader in each set. That would have been a little bit more neat. But we haven't looked at his miniature yet, so let's take a look at that. There's his gilly face. Now it just makes me want to have a He-Man set for this even more. So you can have He-Man and Thundercats teaming up on this. Cool. And then our last character for this Wiggle Box set is going to be Snarf. And this is also one of the things, when I first saw this, I just assumed Snarf was going to be like a companion. Or like a familiar type character where they're like, he's gonna have bonuses, but he had to move around with everybody else. I didn't think he was gonna be a full playable character. I'm actually excited about that. That's really cool. More characters are cool, because then plus you can play an even bigger game with all these different characters. Because now you can add all of them and, you know, make a thing. Now, he doesn't have a signature weapon, but he can hold a shield. But he starts off with Hold Your Nose. Oh, that's a fun ability. So Hold Your Nose lets you, after you defeat, I think it has to be the last zombie, so I'm going to double check that. Once per turn, the survivor gets a free search action if they have eliminated a zombie in the same round. This action This action may only be used to search, and the survivor can still only search once per turn. So, even in a street zone or a vault, if you're in Black Plague. Yes, if you eliminate it, so basically it lets him search while they're out on the battlefield. So that's kind of fun, because that means, while everyone else is maybe doing combat, if he takes out one guy then quick, he gets to help search for extra items while they're out there, so they don't have to then be hiding in buildings all the time. Then he has +1 action. He has Brothers in Arms, +1 die in combat, and then Slippery. Oh, cool. So he has a Brother in Arms as well. So now, if you had him and Lion-O out at the same time when you got into red, everyone, when they're running around together, they could give everyone +2 dice. That's pretty fun. Lifesaver, Lucky, and Roll 6 +1 die for combat. So if you roll a 6, you get an extra die. Lucky lets you re-roll your dice for the new result. And then Lifesaver lets you pull a character from a spot with a zombie to your zone. Yes, this seems very Snarf. He's like a very support character. Giving other people actions, you know, getting away if he needs to. I mean, he's not really a combat-oriented character in the show, so it's hard to give him, like, combat abilities. So they kind of get a good thing there. He can hang around with everybody else, pull them out of battle, give them the extra die with Brothers in Arms, but then while he's fighting with them, maybe he can come in and finish off, like, have him perform the action last, and or whatever, he can finish off one zombie, try and find an item. He goes first, he kills a zombie, he can find an item in there, and then trade it with someone right away. So that's actually kind of cool. He could help out that direction. All right, so that was box number 1, which I have misplaced the bottom of it. Oh, there it is. Alright, so that was box number 1. So we'll go ahead and hop into box number 2. Alright, box number 2, or pack 2, is going to give us Panthro, Tigra, Wily Cat, and Jackalman. I'm not going to read the back of it because it's the same text except for the bottom, where it just brings up the what's my brain trying to say here? It brings up just their different equipment. I did not show off the back of these cards. I do want to show these off because this is some actually pretty incredible artwork. And then there's Scythe. Alright, sorry. I just realized I wasn't showing off, because I don't usually show off the other Zombicide, because they don't, show off the characters too well in the core Zombicide. But yeah, here's Panthro. Look at all these extra spikes. I definitely, he's lot more monk-like. I like to get some scars on his chest now, across his eye, so it's kind of cool. So he's a little bit battle-worn. So we're going to start off with him. So he has Panthro's nunchucks instead. He's going to start with Tough. So Tough will let him take 1 free point of damage. So he ignores the first wound they're receiving from a zombie every zombie phase. So it's only from zombies though. So if somebody shoots him, while the other guy shoots and misses, he still takes damage. +1 action, he has Battle Rage and Taunt. I love Taunt. Survivor uses this skill for free once during their turn. Select the zone your survivor can see. All zombies standing in the selected zone immediately gain extra activation. They try to reach the taunting survivor by any means available. They ignore all other survivors, do not attack. So this kind of makes sense for Panthro. He's kind of like, I was going to say, like, if I was comparing, my brain was like comparing him to the Ninja Turtles, I'm like, he's almost like the Raphael, sort of. Like, I know he uses nunchucks, but he's almost like Raphael, or like, he's sort of like gonna poke fun at people. Like, Mikey pokes fun at people too, but in like a joking way, where Raph does it to provoke them. Because he's like, no, like, you attack me, not my brothers, not my teammates. And that's sort of what Panthro's doing. He's gonna be like, you guys come after me, I can take you. I'm battle hardened, I got scars, like, come after me, you leave the kids alone. Especially the set he's playing in, because he's watching Wily Kit and Wily Cat. So it's kind of like, hey, you guys come after me, you leave the children alone. Also, what's kind of neat here is I bet you could... Oh, no, okay. I was wondering if you could combine Kitara's Zombie Link. It says, an extra activation card is drawing. So technically it's not, this isn't an extra activation card, it's an extra activation. That'd be fun though if he could taunt and then she get an extra action right away. That'd be a fun little like combo. Then we have Battle Rage. Survivor gains an extra die to roll for subsequent melee actions whenever they kill at least 1 zombie with a melee action. The bonus is cumulative if the survivor gets at least 1 kill in the subsequent action applies until the end of the action. So every time he attacks, if he kills something, he gets an extra thing. So if he has his nunchucks have 2 dice, if he kills something, then he can now roll 3 dice on his next attack. And if he kills something, now he just roll 4 dice. So every time he kills something, it's like, for most guys it would be like, they're wielding their sword and they're just swinging it back and forth. You could argue with his nunchucks, it's him hitting it, getting more subsequent combo hits off of it. So that's actually pretty cool. Works really well with that. Then if he hits red, he has 1 free melee action, Ironclad Walker, and Super Strength. Well, free melee makes sense. Ironclad Walker kind of again works with this taunting ability. So Ironclad says, Survivor ignores all wounds from coming zombies that have indicated keywords. So he can't even take damage from walkers. And this is regular walkers, orc walkers, anything that's considered to be a walker. So yeah, along with that with taunt or even battle rage, where you can get right in there. If you don't have to worry about the fatties or the runners or any of the other things, he can just stand in there and not worry about taking damage. And then he has super strength, if that's a different option. Consider damage by melee weapons to be 3. It's great. He can run around and take out abominations as well. So he is your tank of the group. Chitara's speeding around. Lionel's bringing everybody together. Panthro's tanking everybody. Definitely cool. So let's look at his weapons. He's going to get Panthro's nunchuck. But he's going to get 2 of them, because he has nunchucks. He has 2 sets. If you have both nunchucks, add +1 die to each nunchuck. So, normally if you're dueling a weapon, you add them together, so you have 4 dice, so you actually have 6 dice for that. And now imagine with that battle rage, next time it's 7, then 8, then 9. And I mean, if you're standing right in the middle of guys, you can wield a bunch of stuff. Or if you have super strength, and every one of these hits is doing 3 damage instead, and you're getting to roll that many dice. Now, it has a high accuracy, so a lot of dice definitely will help. So that's cool. No, we didn't look at his miniature yet. He's got the little pouches on, because he's also a mechanic. So that's why I was almost wondering if he's going to have some sort of like mechanic or searching type ability, but they didn't give him one. Then we have Tigra, who's kind of like the older mentor of the group. So we'll see what he gets. He has his bullet whip, which he has more battle armor, or more almost clothing armor than anybody else. But yeah, he's like the mentor of the group, so he's going to get to use his bolo whip. He starts with Tactician. Well, like I said, he's going to be like the old guy. So it says, Survivor's turn can resolve anytime during the player's phase before and after any other Survivor's turn. If several Survivors benefit from this skill at the same time, choose their turn order. So basically, yeah, he can jump in and take his turn whenever he needs to. So if he's not part of the first player, you need him to step in and take charge, he will. So yeah, it makes sense. I'm the experienced guy, let me step in, I know what needs to happen. +1 action, max range and double casting. So max range works well with his whip, that's the idea there. Double casting, make sure I read that right, ABC. Every time the survivor performs an enhancement action, they select extra target for the same enchantment for free. Designate both targets and resolve one application after the other in any order. So if he uses an enchantment spell, he gets to cast it multiple times. Again, experience. He knows how to perform stuff really well. He can do it twice. Plus also the fact that Wily Kit and Wily Cat are in a set. It's just kind of like he can attack, target one of them and then hit the other with the same spell. So you can boost both of them at the same time. It's a fun thought. +1 die roll for magic, shove, and spellcaster. So shove, push them out. +1 die roll. And spellcaster has 1 free action. This action may be used for magic or enchantment actions. So if you give him spells, he's kind of the magic guy of the group. There's not really a lot of magic going on or spell stuff in Thundercats. But if you're gonna give it to one, it makes sense to give it to one of the older guys. You kind of the old ways, So that's kind of cool. Plus, it works for this set. And then he gets Tiger's Bolo Whip, which has spend 1 action. 1 zombie at range 1 to 0 can't activate this turn. Just not that big of a deal. But still be able to shut down 1 zombie. Hey, there's a runner coming at you, or there's an abomination. Just to stop them from 1 space away from being able to move or activate. Yeah, if there's 8 walkers, stopping 1's probably not going to make that big of a difference. Versus what you could do with 1 action. But again, if there's something bigger you can't kill, or a fatty that you can't kill, it might be definitely worth it. Yeah, so there's his thing, like the whip, the 3 little prongs at the end. I mean, it might be a little bit thicker whip than like you would have expected for him. But, these guys are only so big. Alright. Our next one is we're going to look at Wily Kit. And then we have Wily Cat right after them. So they're like siblings, brother and sister. So I'm going to guess their abilities are going to very much go together. So like, yeah, he has like the full bodysuit on. He has some pouches. They're kind of like the tricksters of the game. Or not of the game, of the TV show. Like, they're children. They're trying to have fun. They're doing tricks. So they can use kitten cats, bombs, and capsules. So I want to do is, before I show off their card, is we're going to get 4 copies of these. So 2 for each one, essentially. It says discard this card, choose a zone at range 0 to 1. Zombie of the zone can't activate this round. So we're just talking about Tiger's Bullet stops 1 zombie. This one, all you have to discard, so it's not usable over. It stops all the zombies in a zone, and these guys can carry them on their person, so they don't have to waste a hand slot holding it. Just throw it and then it's gone. That's the only, that's the only downside. And once they're gone. But stopping the entire zone could definitely help, especially if they have like runners, something that's gonna have multiple movement points. So that's cool. And again, we get 4 of them. Sorry, I just want to look at those quick so we kind of just see what they can do there. Alright, Wily Cat starts with Hit and Run. So Hit and Run says, survivor may use this skill for free just after they resolve a magic, melee, or ranged attack result in at least 1 zombie kill. They can resolve a free movement action. The survivor benefits from the effects of Slippery skill for this move, so they don't have to get stuck. So that's kind of cool. So that makes sense for this character. Runs in, kills something, can bounce right back out, or he can bounce to the next thing. So very, very cool for a small character. So yeah, like, there's a little Wily Kit, like compared to Panthro. Like, yes, he's crouching, but he's still technically about half the size. And then there's Wily Cat. As long as we're showing him off. And then she's kind of like a jogging type motion. And they're little foxes. So, like, obviously each one has their different thing, but yeah, they're little types of foxes of some sort. So she has low profile and marksman. So low profile means that if they're in a group, they can't be targeted by magic or ranged attacks from other survivors. They ignore the casting a combat spell or shooting a zone they stand in. So they can be in the middle of a zone, someone else can be shooting or ranged attack at them. They don't have to worry about getting hit. And then marksman is the opposite of that. It's if they're shooting, they get to freely choose all their targets and they won't hit survivors. So it's kind of like, hey, if you want him up hitting close, you can do that. If you want him at range distance, you can do that. His reg is 2 movement, 2 zones per move action, slippery, and zombie link. Yeah, so whatever. So it's just the last one is just kind of how do you want him to be able to move? Is he up close? Let him use slippery. Zombie link, you can do some extra damage, or move around with zones. So, yeah, however, you a little bit of a bag. Then we have Wily Kit after that, who starts with a low profile. In orange, she has Sprint, which lets her move, and then she has Trick Shot, which Trick Shot says when a survivor is equipped with dual combat spells or ranged weapons, they can aim at different zones with each spell or weapon in the same thing. So that's actually pretty fun. So, where Wily Kit had the ability to, like, either be in combat and not get hit, she can sit there and now shoot towards them. And that's the same thing where he has marksman where he can shoot in there, They kind of work in tandem that way. But yeah, she can shoot in there. Doesn't have to worry about hitting them if they're both in orange if you choose a low profile. And her red, she has 1 free move, 1 free range, or slippery. So again, kind of like how do you need her to be. Just kind of like they're a little bit back and forth, like what they need to be doing. Alright, so they're not the most interesting characters, but they're definitely cool additions. Then our final character for this pack is Jackalman. He does not, unfortunately, have a set of equipment. Because he uses his claws, so he doesn't really carry a weapon. But he definitely looks cool. Big giant spike on his shoulder is neat. And what does Jackalman do? He may hold an axe instead. So probably a throwing axe, knowing him. +1 die for melee. So melee is going to do extra accuracy, essentially. Oh, that's cool. So he has Brothers in Arms +1 die for range or charge. So you can decide, does he need to get in, or is he going to boost everyone's range? That's kind of neat. I wasn't expecting that. And then in his red, 1 free melee action, roll 6 +1 die for range or shove. So cool. So he's like a mid-level character. Give him the extra melee. He wants to get in and do damage with his claws, but you need him to sit back and do some range stuff. He'll definitely sit back and do some range stuff. I was kind of curious with Swipe. I grabbed the wrong box. So his is all about just straight up, not even always necessarily melee. He has combat stuff, with although he has the barbarian, which is melee and bloodlust melee. But like, yeah, they could sit back and also do some extra damage, or they could both be charging in together. So they kind of do work as a little bit of a pair. Maybe not 1000%, but it's definitely doable. Alright, then we're going to jump into our third box. Alright, our final pack, number 3, is Mammal. So you have 1 Necromancer and 1 Abomination. So definitely not a lot of extra content for this one. But I do want to look at the back on this one, because it does have a little bit different text. So, blah 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 blah. And now with his ultimate plan, wreaking untold destruction across the world, Mammal takes the field to command his zombie hordes as a Necromancer, or from the forefront as a mighty abomination. The Thundercats shall bow before the might of Mammal, and the Power Stone shall be his. So yeah, of course they're going to have some neat effects. They're going to have the back of his card, which is going to show specifically just him. But when we get to his actual, summoning cards, they're the regular back. So we have, this is more or less like a rules card. So it says, Mammal the Undying is on the loose and trying to retrieve the Eye of Thundera. Use this pack in your Zombicide game. Simply shuffle the Zombicide cards with a zombie deck. Whenever you draw the Mammal Necromancer card, remove it from the game. 2, 3. I only have 4. There's only 4. Yep, 4, 5, 6 cards. Yep, so there's only 4 of them. So cool. So he has a special rules, of course. So on the back here, we're gonna have Abomination version. We'll look at that one in just a sec. So he has his 4 summoning cards. Which says, if Mammal Necromancer is already on the board, replace it with Mammal Abomination. Otherwise, spawn Mammal Necromancer. So, first time you summon him, if you haven't killed him, he's going to become an Abomination instead. Again, Necromancer is going to try to escape the board. So, he's going to try to get out if you happen to draw enough of these quickly, and his Abomination is going to appear. And you're going to get 4 of them, so it's 68, 369, and 370. So those are the 4 different ones there. And there's, of course, his little Necromancer form, where he's all mummified. And then I forgot what the heck he says to transform. I wish I remembered. And then Mumra Abomination. Experience point provided 5. Damage to destroy 3. Damage dealt 2. Not sure why he deals 2 damage when most Abominations deal 3. But he does get 2 actions, so that might be why. Also, he has range of 0 to 1. So he's actually pretty abusive. When defeated, place Mumra Necromancer on the closest spawn zone. If the Sword of Omens is in play, Mumra Abomination will move towards it. So cool. So he's out there as a Necromancer, and you draw another one, you change him to the Abomination. If you defeat the Abomination, the Necromancer comes back. So it kind of plays back to he's the unliving. The Undying, so he's going to keep coming back. And then, if, Sword of Omens is out, he's going to be like, oh, I don't care if I can see, that guy there, I'm going after that sword. So that's actually kind of a neat little rule, too. Then there's his miniature, or megature, however you want to call it. And he's got, the giant cape, which is really cool, the things going up there. And then, him compared to his Necromancer form. Definitely, he's holding on to his cape there, but yeah, different sizes. Cool. Alright, so that was Thundercats. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Really cool that these expansions are coming out like this for these games. I unfortunately missed the Ninja Turtles and the Ghostbusters because at the time I hadn't been collecting Zombicide stuff. So I wasn't going to buy them for a game I had no intention at the time of buying. But then I bought Massive Darkness and it got me into, I started buying stuff for it. But yeah, so hopefully I'll keep up on some of the other newer ones that are coming out. I know they have The Boys, which I've read some of the comic books, haven't watched the TV series yet. But so I might try and pick that one up just because it might be some, again, interesting, more gameplay, more elements. Supernatural, I'm excited for. I've never watched it, but my wife loves the show, so I want to pick it up for that reason. And it might get me into watching it some. Then there's also the Iron Maiden stuff coming out. So when I get that, that'll be exciting. And then there's the DC Dark Metal, which I'm hesitant on because it's all bad guys. So it's kind of, might be neat, but I'm not sure if I want to spend, $20 on 2 bad guys when it's 6 boxes. I wish they would just package that all as one giant box set for $40 or something, or $50 instead of, 6 boxes of separate characters. These aren't so bad because it's 4 to 5 characters in each except for the one big guy. But yeah, spending that kind of money for 2 figures and 2 figures that they're only going to come out occasionally, they're not playable survivors. It's a little hard to justify sometimes. Alright, that's what we got for this. See you guys later. Bye.